Hello all. Well, there's a big gunfight going on over here. So if you hear a bunch of gunfire, that's what it is. I don't know who's fighting who, but I guess it's a couple of the gangs fighting with each other, and there's not been a single siren yet. Alright, so with all the excitement over of last night with the anti-Trump marches, let's get on with this horrible problem of earthquakes underneath fracking fields and wastewater wells. Let's take Oklahoma, for example. Oklahoma houses the biggest oil trading hub in North America or even the US. 60 million barrels of crude oil stored there in tanks. What's the problem with this? Well, there's a wastewater well not too far away from there. In fact, there's loads of them. In 2015, Oklahoma had over 1,000 high-pressure wastewater wells in just Oklahoma alone. What does that have to do with anything? Well, that's what they think is causing these earthquakes in Oklahoma. Let's go over to the map and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, as you can see, Oklahoma's been having a lot of earthquakes, with the latest being a 5 earthquake in Cushing's, Oklahoma, where damage occurred. Nobody was killed or injured. Guys, we have an emergency situation here. Here it is, November, just before winter, here in the San Francisco Bay Area, California, USA. And yeah, what you're seeing there is quite remarkable. The trees are in full spring bloom. Full spring bloom. Look at that. There's another one over here. So Oklahoma has been putting over 1 billion barrels of in the ground under pressure each year for years now. The OCC, the regulatory agency in wastewater wells, has ordered Oklahoma to reduce or shut down altogether over 700 of those wells to try and remove the earthquakes. Oklahoma, I'm sorry, it's already been done. You've got so much pressure built up under there that it's going to be relieving itself in many ways. Let me go over to the board and explain it to you here. Okay, let's put in perspective what we're looking at here. So this is a fracking field where they go down roughly 11 miles and 11 miles over, or they could even go 20 miles. When they're fracking, they're putting pressure like this. So pressure builds up like this on each frac, both up and down. So each time they frack, they put pressure on our land to push up and to push down. Alright, so you have all that pressure going on under Oklahoma with all the fracking fields, thousands of them. Then you have all the pipelines running right above the aquifers. Now we know from past videos that these pipelines are leaking like crazy, like sieves, and their leachate is going down, yes, into the groundwater. That would just make sense, wouldn't it? Alright, so you've got groundwater being polluted from above on the pipes. All the chemicals that are spilled onto the ground while fracking, that leaches down, gets into the groundwater. Then you've got all this pressure here pushing up like that, and probably eventually some of this will leak up into the groundwater. Then you have this wastewater, which takes 8 barrels of water to make 1 barrel of fracking oil. So you have 8 barrels of water, over 8 billion barrels a year or more of wastewater goes down into these wells. And the pressure is so great under here to make this wastewater go into rock, to penetrate rock in all directions. Well, that obviously is going to put a lot of pressure upward, causing earthquakes between layers of rock here and here. But it also goes down. So below here, if you were down, let's say this is this layer, you may have a fissure that goes down into the ground. That pressure will go down there and push this way and that way, causing earthquakes also. Once there is all this pressure underground, you can't just relieve it with one earthquake. It takes several earthquakes over years to get rid of all this pressure. And eventually all this pressure will end up right here in your aquifer, in your drinking water. This is planet Earth. This is our planet Earth. Is that any way to treat it? It's the only place we have to live, and we're treating it like that. And unfortunately, Donald Trump's going to amp that up so much more. I hope you guys don't mind a little oily water to drink. Now let's go over to the board and see how many earthquakes Oklahoma is having and whether they're having an increase or a decrease with all this work. This is, you can see where the projected line is, but where it is going is still it is still continuing to go up, the amount of earthquakes in Oklahoma. Now I'm just using that as an example. If you guys are going to go down this road, let me explain how it works. When you frack oil, it takes barrels of oil wastewater out of the ground to get 1 barrel of usable crude out. Those other 8 barrels are just waste garbage. They're toxic, and what they do is they pump it back down in the ground much further than where it was originally. And it's put in these porous rocks, or what they're calling porous rocks, and they're just pumping it as hard as they can. And of course, it's so difficult to pump anything into a rock. I can't imagine the pressure it would take. But they're acting as if it's like sandstone or something, and you can somehow put all this wastewater in there indefinitely without any consequences. But you know something? What can we do about it? We've run out, here in the U.S., we've run out of what we can do about it. It's because of who we voted in here in the U.S. for president. He is pro-fracking, pro-wastewater, pro-dirty coal, clean coal, whatever kind of coal he can mine, doesn't matter. Completely eliminating most of the pollution regulations federally. So we have run out of what we can do about it. If you wake up some morning and there's a fracking well going up next to your house, you know, you blew it, you know, you blew it. There are no what we can do about it. It is what it is going to be, and that's the way it's going to be. That's too bad, but I don't know where you can find a what we can do about it when you voted it in the first place. Because in his agenda, he made it quite clear that fracking was a friend, and fracking would become everywhere. And he would take all the restrictions away, such as where you're going to drill, how you're going to drill, what happens to the waste. All that doesn't matter anymore. So, like I said, we've run out of what ifs. Here in November, where we're seeing an amazing amount of foliage now coming to flower. In other words, all these trees, native and non-native in California, think that spring has now started here in November. But there's no problem at all. I have never seen this, and I've been here for about 60 years, and I've never witnessed flowers in November like this, ever. It just doesn't happen. Well, it does now, doesn't it? All right, guys, I just wanted to get that video up for you and let you know what's going to be happening before it happens. And when it does, there's not much we can do about it. But we can try. But we voted for it, so why would we try to fight against it? I don't understand. But anyway, on a hot November day here in San Francisco, California. I appreciate the last 2 video comments. They were really good. Lots of good comments there. And I love the new comments on this video and the ups and the new subscribers. Love all the new subscribers. And until next time.